Guys, it's been a long time coming, but I'm proud to announce that my hands are finally registered with the International Registry of Lethal Hands. This is the only place where your God-given gifts of danger can get the recognition that they truly deserve. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would anybody need to register their hands as lethal? Let me break it down for you. There are those among us whose hands are so downright dangerous, they need to be documented. Registration is a moral responsibility, and it's a vote for the greater good of humanity. The sole mission of the International Registry for Lethal Hands is to catalog the most formidable hands on the planet. So if you know someone, and you even suspect they possess lethal hands, do not hesitate. Register them immediately. And if you've ever looked at your own hands and thought, damn, these dogs are dangerous, don't settle. Go register. Head over to registeryourhands.com, fill out a simple form, and you're official. Remember, use the promo code Chael to save 20%, or just click on the link below. Guys, I'm having a great night. In the back of a car, I'm in New York. And I have had one heck of a New York experience. I am not a New York guy, right? I'm a country boy turned gangster. But New York is a bunch of fake gangsters, you know? And you'll understand this someday, but everybody's a gangster until a gangster walks into the room. I gotta just tell you, this is New York. But here's what happened to me. I came out because I was invited to an event for Teddy Atlas. By the way, I'm with my buddy Devin. I'm performing for Devin. Devin's from New York, born and raised, and so I'm in the back seats just stabbing his city in the back. I was trying to get a laugh out of him. All right, here's the thing. Got invited by Teddy Atlas. Teddy has a fundraiser. He's got a foundation. And he's the best, man. If you ever meet Teddy Atlas, talk to guys that know Teddy behind Teddy's back. They will all say the same thing. He's the best. That's the exact word they will use. Not he's great, he's not. He's the best. And he does this foundation, and he'll just help a kid. It doesn't go any further than that. You're a kid, you need help, foundation helps you. There was a kid last year who wanted to play basketball. And he kind of played in the neighborhood, but he got into school. I want to say he was going to be a 7th grader. He got into school where it's going to be organized for the first time. And he wanted to play, and he had some skills, but he didn't have any shoes. Can you imagine? Have you ever been in that spot? You ever grew up a poor kid? And Teddy got him some shoes. Real simple, right? But how many kids like that are out there that could use a pair of shoes? They could use a wrestling singlet. You know, put in my terms, they would love to go to wrestling practice, but they don't have the shoes. They don't have a pair of shorts to wear. So great things like this, all the way up to much bigger things. You know, kids in need and has to get to a certain hospital for a transplant. I mean, there's some all the big stuff too, but I got invited to this event, so I'm headed out to it. And I'm going out here, and this is on the back end of doing Ariel's program. And that was 2 days ago, but I was really impressed with what Ariel has going on. I was teasing him when he started this, but I was teasing him in the spirit of like guerrilla marketing. He goes with Google and he starts a vertical. I have the foggiest idea what a vertical is. I'm a smart enough guy. I work in production. I own a production company. I don't know what a vertical is. So I start asking him that on social media, but it's not really a way to just educate me on what a vertical is. It's also a way to get a back and forth on social media, which is doubling as an advertisement, trying to help Ariel. But instead of him understanding that, he decided to be mean to me and tease me for not knowing what a vertical was. At any rate, I got into his studios, and I was rather excited. I wanted to see the Google studios. And Ariel had a great thing going over at Vox. I would always tease him because he was in the basement and things like that. He had a beautiful studio, and he has some wonderful people with him. But this deal at Google, man, it's a whole other game. There was no way for Ariel to look at the two offers or the two situations and not go with Google. So I get to the most beautiful set. Oh my goodness. You wouldn't believe how nice it is. In the building I went through, and my mother was in town. I got sick when I was out here. I was on FaceTime with my mom. I said, Mom, hold on, I'm not feeling well. So anyway, she gets on a plane, she comes out here. So we go together. And they got you in like this green room. Green room is an expression. Like the room doesn't have to be green. I don't really know where the expression came from, but it just means where if you're going to go on and do a show, it could be radio or it could be videoed, and it could be a vertical, apparently. It's the room that you'll wait in before you go into the studio. But there's varying degrees. You walk into one at Fox or ESPN, and there'll be a spread in the back. You go get a plate of food and build your own sandwich. And man, this green room that Google had, there is not a close second. It's not, oh, maybe that was the nicest one I've ever been in. No. There's not even a close second. It was unbelievable, and that's before they bring me to Helwani. Now, I dragged the story along, but there's something going on in this industry that I don't know about, and I do not like that. They used to call me the nose. They would tease me. Oh, you got to know everybody's business. It's true. Go ahead and tease. I have to know. If you're doing something, I have to know what you're doing. If Dana's doing something, I have to know what he's doing. I have to know everything. I'm very curious like that. And on the back end of me on Ariel, they bring in Mikey Musumeci. That is not Mikey Musumeci. That's still, I'm really close. Well, it turns out like Mikey's the sweetest guy ever. And how often can you say that about a combat athlete? Like that, you call him a sweet guy? How often do you meet a sweet guy? This young man was so polite. He was so polite, and he treated Ariel and I with such incredible respect that if his mother ever sees this, I hope she knows she did a great job. But Mikey signed with the UFC, and Mikey is the ONE FC champion, and they just wouldn't ever let him go. I mean, that just would not happen. ONE FC, they're grappling, which I wish they would get credit for. I really do wish the Fighters Only World MMA Awards would do a recognition to what ONE championship has done with and for grappling. But if I was to set that aside, I'm sharing with you that I'm missing some pieces here. Mikey is their champion, and he gets paid really well, and he competes pretty often. He's in a wildly unique situation. There's only a handful of grapplers that can make it in grappling. Craig Jones, if he can stay consistent, we'll add a couple of more to that list. But the opportunities are scarce, and Mikey's their champion. And I watch ONE championship, and I watch it heavily to watch Mikey compete. And Mikey said that he is signed with the UFC, but he signed with the UFC for grappling. Now, I can't connect these two. I don't know what I'm missing or what piece of this is missing. I, of course, would assume this is for Fight Pass. Now, Fight Pass has the Invitational, which is a great event. Nicky Rod and Gordon Ryan, just for perspective for you guys. George St. Pierre. Do you guys remember this? George St. Pierre, and was it a year ago, or the way time's flown, it was even 2 years ago. It was December. I think it was December of last year, but George St. Pierre had signed to grapple, and there was all sorts of opponents out there. There was even a rumor of a $5 million offer to Khabib. And that was nothing more than a rumor, but there was an offer to Khabib. And you're not getting George without a shiny nickel in your pocket. And George isn't doing anything unless George puts himself in a position to win. It's got nothing to do with the opponent. George will take on anybody. But he knows what he needs to do to be ready to compete. And I'm talking about diets and training camps and specific breakdowns of a specific opponent. We never got revealed to us who that opponent was going to be. And there was talk that it was going to be Nick Diaz. And it is true that Khabib was the first choice. And I think it was going to land on Kamaru Usman. And I bring it to you because I want to give you perspective on the UFC Invitational. And I don't know exactly who runs that. I believe it's Stephen Teshi, and I know it would go through Teshi, but I hope it's Teshi because you can count on him. Above everything else, you can count on him. And in this industry, number one thing is do say. You got to do what you say you're going to do. I share that with you because are they getting ready to make a bigger move? And what would that move be? What would that be? They're already on a wonderful platform. It's a beautiful show. They host it out of the Apex. They put it in an octagon. I mean, I'm checking all the boxes. What in the hell is it that they're going to be? And do not think for a second that Chachery's just going to let Mikey go. Chachery treated Mikey wonderfully. Chachery really liked Mikey. Not to mention, Chachery really believes in grappling. So it's not as though he's letting that go. And I mean, if grappling could ever get into a spot where you got two juggernauts, like One Championship, like UFC, fighting back and forth. I tried to get this going at Bellator, by the way. Now, it was this close. It was this close. Where Scott Coker had a real interest. But he wanted to do it digitally. And, you know, like anything, you know, you get some ideas and some of them come through and not it. And Coker ended up having a real presence digitally. But not enough where he wanted to do a live event. But I'm only sharing that with you because imagine what would happen. I like when something good happens to the grapplers. I like that Jason Nolf, who is the best grappler, or at least you're not going to find a better grappler in America today. You find some equals, but you're not going to find one better. And I like that he can leave wrestling, of which just Olympic Games. He's got one more of those in him. As a human being, he could have two. Physically. It's not enough. To put your life on hold, 8 years for two competitions, it's not enough. I'm just using Jason Nolf as an example because thanks to Craig Jones, thanks to Abu Dhabi, there's other options. But is Dana now providing, right? I mean, this is the power of competition. It will change that sport. And the sport of MMA largely exists because of grappling. It was brought to us. It was founded. It was put on display by the Gracie family, who were grapplers. It's a really great thing, guys, but I'm missing something. There's something here. There's some piece that how did Mikey get free? Did Chachery let him go? Did he fight out his contract? People like Chachery, they wouldn't leave. There had to be a group effort where Chachery looked at something and said, hey, this could be best. I'm just curious what that was. I'm curious what that is. I'm curious what Dana has in plan. Am I right? Is it the Invitational? Is it something new? Why would it be new if you already did the Invitational? Is it coming off a Fight Pass? Where would it go if it came off a Fight Pass? Why'd they sign Mikey? What is it that I don't know?